Hey everyone, I'm Jaspreet Singh. I work in identity and cloud security, and on this channel, I build real Microsoft Entra labs to show things how actually behave, not just how the documents say they should. In this video, we are going to look at the common mistakes of break glass account. I'll show you some practicals by showing Microsoft Entra ID sign-ins, what happens when we configure MFA to the break glass account. So what sign-in errors it shows in the Microsoft Entra ID sign-in logs, and I'll also evaluate conditional access policies to show when we enforce MFA on a break glass account. So let's begin. The first question before we talk deep about break glass account, what are the common mistakes? Let's talk about what is the break glass account. A break glass account is an emergency administrator account. This means the account. I'll not try to say a definition. What I'll say is its purpose is to use when there is an emergency with your M365 tenant. So what kind of emergency? So let's talk. Let's try to understand. Let's say this is your global admin, okay, and this one global admin. There is one global admin in the company. This is your M365 portal. He is on a vacation, right? Or let's say this user global admin and he lost his phone and he configured MFA on the phone. Okay, now this is a situation, and there is no other global admin in the company. So since he lost his MFA, he cannot log into the M365 portal unless he approves MFA. So what he can only do is, since there is no break glass account, this means he cannot log into M365 portal. What he can do only is he can contact Microsoft, open a ticket, and this can take hours, days, weeks as well. Imagine, let's say if somebody comes into a situation and he cannot log into the portal just because he lost his mobile device. That's the situation. So that's why we need a break glass account. If we had configured break glass account in the company, we could have logged into the using a break glass account, restore his MFA access within 5 minutes. Productivity restores. The purpose is to use when there is an emergency. MFA outage is explained. Conditional access misconfiguration, that I'm going to talk about conditional access misconfiguration as well in the coming slides. I'll try to give you a gist as well. We also force policies to break glass account as well. We should understand that break glass account purpose is not to include in the policies. It has to keep outside of the policies. If something goes wrong, we can still roll back and log into the M365 portal. The key problem is having one that does not work. The statement might be confusing, but we must understand is most of the IT admins, majority of the M365 tenant admins I have experienced, they have configured, either they have not excluded this policy, either they have not excluded break glass account from the conditional access policy, either they have configured MFA on the policies. So, and they really don't understand the purpose of break glass account. Its purpose is to just use for emergency purposes, but they are using it for other purposes as well. So let's talk about the mistake number one. So what is the mistake number one? MFA enabled on break glass account, yeah, or emergency admin account. So let's try to understand what happens. I'll try to explain you. MFA protects the account, but not every time. We must understand that intentionally we do want to set up MFA on this break glass accounts. IT admins feel that we cannot leave this account without MFA because some hackers will attack it. MFA cannot be enforced on these break glass accounts, but we end up making a mistake by enforcing MFA on all accounts, including break glass account as well. Imagine there's an MFA outage and we cannot log in. Security faults are running. Let's say you've set up a long password, everything is there, but MFA is enforced. CEO of the company requested some reports to be run from the M365 portal. But IT admin has lost his MFA access. MFA is enforced on this account, and the MFA is configured with a previous employee. He doesn't have this person doesn't have access to MFA. He cannot log in with the break glass account as well, and neither he cannot log in with his own account. That's the problem. So MFA should not be enforced on break glass account. That's Microsoft recommended policy. After we lost MFA, we cannot log into M365 portal unless somebody restores our MFA access. Let me show you some examples on the M365 portal. What happens when we don't satisfy the MFA? So let's validate I'm into the M365. I've logged into the M365 portal, and now this is the break glass account. That's what we use. And this account has MFA enforced. As you can see, MFA is configured on this account. And now let's check validate. When we cannot when we cannot satisfy MFA, what happens? User cannot log in. This is one of the labs that I performed yesterday. So let's validate the couple of logs. Authentication failed during strong routing. The user did not complete the MFA request. They may have decided not to authenticate, timed out while doing the work, or has an issue with it. That's it. And what the log status says, failure. And this has been keep on happening, right? Authentication failed during strong authentication request. When we cannot satisfy MFA, we cannot log into M365 portal. Therefore, we must understand that enforcing MFA on a break loss account, which means we may end up in a situation where we won't be able to log in when we need this emergency admin account. Therefore, we cannot enforce MFA on this account. So let's talk about mistake number 2, which is not excluded from conditional access policy. Again, this is one of the common mistakes that IT admins and most M365 tenant admins do. When we set up conditional access policy, CA policies, what we do is we select all users. We think the MFA should be the policy should be applied to everyone in the company. So when we select all users, this includes guest users, service accounts, admins, standard users. These are the ones that we talk about. However, and break loss account, including break loss account. When we select all users, we enforce a policy to everyone. That is what the mistake that we do. We cannot enforce MFA to all users. We may have to make sure that when we select a policy to all users, we should exclude break loss account. We should exclude break loss account. If something goes wrong, we still can log into M365 portal and turn off the policy. Let's say I've set up some policy to create a policy like MFA for all users, where we include MFA, which I've discussed in the previous slide. And we create a policy like require MFA for all users. Microsoft doesn't say that we should not enforce MFA on all admins. However, there should be one global admin account, global admin break loss account. This account must be excluded from all policies, so that when something goes wrong, you still can log in. Let me try to give an example. Let's say you've applied some wrong policies to all users, including a break loss account. So what happens is, if break loss account is not available, that means you cannot log into M365 portal since the policy is applied to him. However, when we had excluded break loss account from this policy, we could have logged into M365 portal and turn off the policy easily and restore the functionality. So that is one of the common mistakes IT admin do. We must exclude break loss account from all policies, regardless. That's Microsoft recommended, and we do get a warning message when we select all users. So let's try to do some practical. Um, Yeah, I'll take you to the M365 portal and I'll show you how does it work. So when we set up a conditional access policy, including everyone. This is Microsoft 365 portal. I've logged into this conditional access where I'll show you some couple of policies that I created. Let's say MFA for all users. Okay, and I've selected all users. At the moment, this admin is acting as a break loss account. I have selected everyone, all users. However, excluded this admin as a break loss account, so that something goes wrong, I still can log into M365 portal and turn off the policy if I lock myself out. So let's validate the policy by going to conditional access policies again, going to what if. Let me show you first before. What this policy does is this policy MFA for all users, where all users, including break loss account, admin account, will be enforced MFA. When emergency situation happens, break loss account will require MFA in order to satisfy will need to satisfy MFA in order to log into M65 portal. I'll show you condition is, and as you can see, modern authentication clients required, grant, and the rule is what they require So let's validate by going to what happens if we are going to enforce MFA to this user. So let's select the user, which is a break class account. I should be able to get it. Here you go, selected. Client tab, I will select Microsoft Graph. Here you go. This is Microsoft Graph. Select. Okay, try to select Windows. I'm trying to log in from Windows device. Client, modern authentication clients. Yeah, IP address, we don't need to fill this one. So if I'm going to validate the policy now, well, let's see what happens. As you can see, MFA for all users enforcing MFA. This account will be forced to require MFA before he can log into M365 portal. So that's not a good sign. However, let's validate Let's validate by removing the account from the policies. MFA for all users again. I'm going to exclude this break loss account from the policy so that let's see what happens. However, now let's exclude this account. And this is what you exclude. As you can see, now the policy must say now the MFA policy will not be forced on this user. Will not apply to this break loss account. So let's validate again. Again, break loss account. Application would be Microsoft Graph again. So here you go. I've selected Microsoft Graph. Device platform Windows, client tab, modern authentication clients. Rest of the things are okay. Authentication we don't need to worry about. No policy, zero policy is found. That will not apply. MFA for all users. This policy will not policy user and groups on as filter no. But this policy will not apply since we have excluded the policy from being applied to this from this account. I hope you got the point that we cannot apply the policy on break loss account. So this means we always make a priority. We always must understand that when we set up a policy, there should be a break loss account that we can so that when somebody log when we try to when something goes wrong, the policy locks other admins out. We still can go to the M365 portal by using a break loss account and do the turn off the policy and so that we can restore the functionality. Let's go back to slides again. The mistake number 3, which is using break loss account for daily admin, where IT admins don't understand the purpose and what exactly they end up doing is they start using break loss account for testing. Let's say some application needs to test it. Let's validate by using break loss account. That's not a good practice. We cannot use this break loss account for other purposes. So it has to be used for emergency purposes, emergency situation where other admins are locked out so that we can log. If we are going to start using for testing purpose, we may end up doing some configurations that may again block the emergency access for this account. Let's say you created a test policy and you added this break loss account into this policy, and later you forgot to remove the policy. Now this policy still applies to the situation. There is a situation when you need a break loss account to log in because other admins are logged out, and this policy is still preventing the user from log. So when you try to log in, you will not be able to log in. That's again no red signal. Therefore, break glass account should be used only for emergency situations and cannot be used for any other testing purposes. Quick admin changes. I remember that one of the companies that I used to work, there was an IT guy. He told me this funny story where what happened is the CEO of the company requested some name changes, and the IT admin of the global admin, he was not available. He was on vacation somewhere, so he could not do it. So what CEO did, CEO logged into M365 portal using the break glass account and made changes to the policy, made changes to the account. And one time, then people start doing it for all time. That's again a no sign. We cannot use a break glass account for quick admin changes. This causes no tracking, compliance issue, and no accountability. Let's say something goes wrong, so we will not be able to track who did this because since it's a generic break glass account that only uses for emergency situation. However, if we start using it for daily changes, that may cause problem. Accountability issues will come, compliance issues will come. This my psychology where it says just this one time only, one time changes only. It's a psychological behavior where we must understand, we must learn that emergency account only be used for emergency situation. However, if we need to make changes to other accounts, there are other ways by contacting global admin, and he can rather than using a break loss account for small changes. Mistake number 4, only one break loss account. This is also a situation where we only create a one break loss account. So what happens is sometimes let's say we are cleaning up some accounts and we end up making a mistake by deleting this break loss account. A junior came, his manager asked, let's run a script where the user who has not been logged in, who are inactive for the past 180 days, disable them. Now, he ran a script and this account got the break loss account got disabled. Try to store the password in a safe location. However, we end up storing in a place where we don't remember where did we keep where did we store the password, and then eventually when we need it, we are not able to retrieve the password, and we can't use this break loss account because we don't have access to the password. Therefore, this is also one of the common mistakes. We don't store the password in a place where we can easily retrieve it. The process should be clear. It should be written. How we can make sure that emergency accounts are properly configured and we are not making any mistakes while setting up break emergency admin account. So let's talk about what actually works. I have jotted down these couple of things that we must make sure. The account should be set up like this. We can access easily. We can access to the account when we need it in emergency situations. So it should be a cloud admin account, which means you cannot have an on-prem AD account syncing to M365 portal, and that is acting as a break loss account. No, it should be M6. Let's say sync is broken. When sync is broken, you will not be able to log into M365 portal. Therefore, cloud identity should be created in M365. This will help. If identity AD sync is broken, you still can log in with a cloud admin account and make changes to the M365 portal. Okay, global admin account. This should be a global admin. We must understand global admin means this account should be a global admin. The password should be very long one, a complex password. There are password generators available on the internet which you can use, or a long password. Complex password should be set, let's say 50 characters, 100 characters word. That password should be set up. No MFA, as I explained in the common mistake one, where MFA, we cannot enforce MFA on this account. No MFA completely. No MFA. Excluded from all conditional access policy. It should be excluded from when we set up a conditional access policy. Make sure this account is excluded. Sign in alerts enabled. So what happens is, and if you don't set up an alert, let's say if I start this junior come and he start using this account, so you will not be able to if you have not enabled sign in logs, sign in alerts. So sign in alert should be enabled, which means this account only uses when there is an emergency situation. Otherwise, send an alert when somebody tries to log in. Let's say this account gets compromised and somebody tries to log in with this account. If you have enabled email alerts, you will get the alerts and you will start investigating who tried to log in and start check sign-in logs, and you can easily find out. If you have not enabled sign-in alerts, you will not be able to find out, and hacker can do whatever he wants to do it, download data, make changes to your M365 portal. Password store offline. So one of the common mistakes that we do is we store the password of a break loss account in password managers, but that's not a good sign. It should be stored in a safe place where we can easily retrieve it. It should be covered in an envelope with secret, confidential mentioning, so that no one should be able to log in. And it should be given to the owner of the company. When something happens, we can still go to him and retrieve the password by going logging this account. Zero daily use. You can also not use this account for daily changes. Let's say somebody saying change the email address and we logged in with this account and you start making changes. No. The real takeaway. Most admins lockout don't happen because Microsoft broke something. No. This happens because break loss accounts were never tested. Break loss accounts were never tested means, right, we created an account. So what we must understand this, after 6 months, we must do a simulation by logging the break loss account, making sure that we can easily restore login, reset the password, easily reset the password and login. We're secure like normal admin accounts. What happens is, and there is a junior guy that who start using this account. No sign-in alert setup, and people start using like a normal admin account, and eventually that causes problem because sessions will be generated. Hacker can use this session to compromise the account to do its bad thing. I've documented this entire lab with screenshot and sign in evidence on f11.ca. If you manage Microsoft 365 tenants, especially as an MSP, this is one lab you should validate before you need it. Links are in the description. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video.